Welcome back to Let's Talk Money. I am Money T.
I am Simply C.
First off, I want to say be sure to subscribe and hit the like button. So this, you guys, helps us in the algorithms and all that wonderful stuff in YouTube land. So we need your help. So please subscribe, share, hit the like button, bell notification so you know when we come on. Today we have an amazing guest.
Yes.
He's a returning guest, and we're going to be talking about how to invest in retirement as an entrepreneur.
Yes, we have the infamous David Jackson, certified financial planner, and I just learned certified mutual fund counselor. So David is an advisor, and he's been an advisor for over 25 years, and he's been featured in national and local media outlets seeking his financial expertise. He is a regular guest on KCTV5's Better Kansas City. He is also a former host of a financial talk show on local radio and is a frequent contributor to the Kansas City newspaper, including financial tips in the column Financial Matters. I'm just gonna really mess this up. Okay? David specializes in retirement planning and working with small business owners. David, welcome to Let's Talk Money.
Hey, great to be with you guys. Good morning.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, indeed.
So entrepreneurs like Money T. I guess I'm an entrepreneur too, but I'm still working full time, right? Yeah. So we're gonna be talking about building wealth as an entrepreneur and saving for retirement after we get through working 24 hours for ourselves.
Right.
All right.
Totally, and how to do that so that we're not stuck. Because some people that are entrepreneurs, they don't have that passive income, so they're working, and at some point in time, you're going to stop working, right?
At least you
Exactly.
Exactly. So I want to know, what type of accounts do you recommend for entrepreneurs or small business owners?
Well, first off, I think it's really important that you guys are emphasizing that the entrepreneur needs to set up some type of retirement plan. Yeah. A lot of times people get so busy with their business and trying to build up their business that they forget about, okay, I need to plan for my future. And so putting some money aside for retirement and not just banking entirely on the fact that, well, I'll be able to sell my business at some point is vitally important. You know, maybe you will be able to sell your business and that could be your retirement, maybe not. But in the meantime, you need to be doing something, putting money aside to build for that day. And there are multiple types of retirement plans. So when I'm talking with a business owner, an entrepreneur about saving for retirement, I start with, well, how much do you feel like you can put away? Because early on, you know, with a small business, you can save about $5,500 or $6,500, depending on your age, a year into just a regular IRA. So if all you're planning on saving per year is, or all you can afford to save is about $5,000, we'll say, I would just recommend you do a traditional IRA and then deduct that off your income taxes. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of depends on how your business grows, how your business is structured. Do you have employees? Is it just you? That helps us determine, well, you can do what's called a SEP IRA, SEP IRA, which basically says 25% of your income or profit can be directed into that SEP on a pre-tax basis. So let's keep the numbers real simple, just so we don't confuse our listeners. If you made $100,000, you can put about $25,000 away into your SEP approximately. And it does two things. Number one, you get $25,000 that you have to invest on a pre-tax basis. Mm-hmm. But number two, now you're being taxed not on $100,000, but on the $75,000. So you're saving yourself somewhere in the neighborhood of $5,000 to $8,000 in taxes just by making contributions into your own retirement account. Mm-hmm. Now, if you have employees, the SEP may or may not be the ideal vehicle because If you have employees and you're doing 25% for yourself, you have to contribute 25% for your employees too.
Okay.
So that gets awfully expensive if you have a lot of employees and if your employees are making good money. So if that's the case, then you may want to consider doing what's called a simple IRA or a 401k, where you can reduce how much you have to put in for your employees. And then there's also, I kind of skipped over it, there's also what's called a solo 401k, where if it's just you and you're wanting to totally max out what you can put into your retirement account, doing a single owner or solo 401k allows you to potentially put up to about $55,000 a year into a plan on a pre-tax basis. Yeah, so this kind of depends on how much income you're making, how much you're trying to save on taxes, and then what your structure is as far as employees and all, what you're wanting to do.
$55,000 a year is a lot.
That's a lot, yeah. So if you're doing really, really well, you know, and you can afford to do that, you can build up your retirement savings in a quick hurry.
Yes.
So 55,000 versus 55%.
Or 25%.
25%. Okay. Yeah. That is a lot of money, because aren't regulars like 6,000 a year? Aren't the limits?
Yeah.
Let's say, like, for me, a full-time employee, what are the limits for like me as an employee?
Okay. On your job as a employee, you can make contributions into the 401k plan, and the maximum, I hope I don't get these numbers wrong because they keep changing on us. You can actually put about $19,000 a year into your 401k plan. And then if you're over 50, you can do an additional amount called a catch-up provision.
Okay.
So into your employer plan, you can put a lot of money. And plus you're getting that matching contribution from your employer.
Yeah.
I
like them.
So is there any type of benefit, or does it make any sense for a small business person to have a Roth IRA?
It may. It may. So you have to think about what a Roth does versus the types of retirement plans that we're talking about. The type of plans we're talking about are going to give you a tax break now.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so you're going to be able to, you say $10,000, $20,000, whatever you contribute, you write that off on your income taxes, and you're saving yourself a bunch and paying income taxes. You can make contributions into a Roth where you don't get the tax write-off now, but then when you go to start withdrawing money from that Roth, once you reach retirement age, it comes out on a totally tax-free basis. So sometimes it makes sense for a person to do a combination, have some money going in pre-tax to get the tax break now, and some money going into the Roth side to get the tax break later.
Right. And basically for small businesses and entrepreneurs, we're looking for tax breaks.
Now, yeah, I know for most, yeah, we need the tax break now.
Shoot, I'm looking for tax breaks now.
Yes, I get it. Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. So then when we talk about setting up these type of retirement plans, once you have the plan set up or figure out which plan makes the most sense for your business based on how you're structured and your employees, et cetera, then you have to decide, well, how do I want that money invested? And so you have a choice of investing in mutual funds or ETFs or individual stocks to make your money grow. And, you know, depending on your risk tolerance and your experience with investing, you have a lot of choices if you want to be conservative, moderate, or aggressive, or somewhere in between.
What do you find people typically wanting to do? Is that based on age as far as in regards to the risk?
Yeah, it's all based on age and risk tolerance. So the older you get, the less risk you can afford to take, because let's just say you're 5 years away from retirement and you're in a really, really aggressive investment portfolio, and we have an incident like 2008 happen to you. And all of a sudden you've lost 30% of your money and you're really, really close to wanting to retire. And now you don't have time to let that money recover, because even in 2008, it took about 3 years for the economy or for the stock market to recover from the loss that it took after that crash.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to retire in the middle of that, you never get a chance to recover and come back. So you don't want to be quite as risky when you're older and getting close to retirement than you do when you're younger and you have time on your side.
I want to know if you consider following index. Do you consider that conservative, or do you consider it risky? If you follow that,
there are multiple indexes, so it just kind of depends.
So like if you follow the S&P,
right?
And I know, different fund managers or whatever have different makeups, right?
Right.
But
yeah, following the S&P is considered kind of aggressive.
Okay.
And especially if you're doing 100% S&P.
Mm-hmm.
So a moderate investor would say, okay, I got about 60% of my money tied to the stock market. It can be in index funds, it could be in other things, but it's in the stock market. And 40% is in the bond market. And then an aggressive investor will say, no, I want 100% of my money exposed to the stock market. And it could be the S&P, it could be the Russell small cap, it could be technology, but it's just having all your holdings in the stock market makes you an aggressive investor.
Okay. So can you tell us what the difference as far as risk factor is between a mutual fund and a ETF?
Oh, it's a great question. It's actually a great question. So let me try to explain a little bit about what an ETF is first. ETF exchange traded fund, it works kind of like a stock. And with an ETF, you're just purchasing an index. So using the S&P 500 is a great example. So there's no manager who has to pick stocks for you, because you're just purchasing, let's just say, all 500 companies that represent the S&P 500. And however the stock market does in general is how your money will do. When you have a mutual fund has a manager, and the manager's job is to pick stocks that may be part of the S&P 500, but maybe he only wants to pick the best stocks. That's what he's trying to do, is pick the best stocks that represent the S&P 500 to give you a better return than what the S&P 500 gives you. So, manager's job may be to say, okay, I need to pick, say, like Apple Computers and Tesla and companies like that, but maybe leave out some companies like, bigger companies that are not growing that fast. Mm-hmm. And then, so the mutual fund manager's job is to try to pick the stocks that outperform what the general index is doing. Mm-hmm. It's not to say one's good and one's bad, because when the market is going up a lot, sometimes the ETFs are the best way to go, because, if a rising tide raises all boats, and the S&P is just going to keep making money because the market's making money. Mm-hmm. And then when you have a downturn, sometimes the mutual funds turn out better, because the mutual fund manager can say, well, things are looking a little bad. The economy's going into a recession. Maybe we should pull some money off the table and be a little bit safer with the investment. The ETF can't do that because there's no manager to do it. It's just, you're just going to rise and fall with whatever the market does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's going to do what it do.
Yeah. So it's, different strategies, and not like one bad and one's good. It's just different ways to do it.
It's different ways. Yeah. And so that's probably why we need to diversify, right?
There you go. That's absolutely the answer there. Diversify.
Absolutely.
I love using the example of a few years back when we first started getting into social media, and there are two really big players in the space. You had MySpace and you had Facebook. And, if you're trying to decide, okay, I'm going to invest in one of these companies because I got a feeling social media is really going to take off. Mm-hmm. You could have picked MySpace and lost all your money, or you could have picked Facebook and made a ton of money.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's a risk. But if you invest in an ETF or a mutual fund, you're not putting all your money, all your eggs in one basket. You're diversified. You don't have to worry about making that big mistake and losing all your money.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of mistakes, what are some mistakes that you've seen people make or entrepreneurs make in regards to investing? Or have you seen it?
Well, when it comes to saving for retirement, there's two big ones that they make. Either they start putting too little money in and they never really accumulate much, or they put too much in and they get themselves in financial trouble and have to go in and take money out early and have to pay those tax penalties and everything for having to take it out. So,
okay.
So usually I tell my entrepreneurs when they get started, make sure you're doing an amount that you're comfortable with, that you won't have to touch. Even with emergencies, you got some emergency money already set aside to handle, difficult times, so that you can let your money continue to grow. Because the worst thing you can do is have to start dipping into your retirement money way before retirement.
Right. And is there some type of tool that can be used to help guide in that area? As far as the amount?
Well, so usually what we do is we'll start with, well, what is the goal in mind? So let's just say I'm working with an entrepreneur that is 50 years old, just as an example. And when we do a kind of a retirement analysis, we determine that by the time they're actually ready to retire, they're going to need about $500,000 saved, and living off the interest of that $500 is going to be a key part of their retirement. Then we do the math and say, okay, well, based on your age and trying to get to $500,000, earning a certain amount of interest, this is how much you need to do per month. Is that something feasible for you or not? And if they say, no, I can't afford that right now, we say, well, let's start with less than that, what you can afford. But then as your business grows, let's raise the amount to get to that.
Good stuff.
But yeah, there are all kind of really good tools out there. Even going on my website, there's a retirement calculator tool that helps a person kind of determine, well, am I tracking right for retirement? And if not, what do I need to do in addition to what I'm currently doing to get me there?
Cool. And what's your website?
It's mhwealthkc.com. MH for Modern Horizons, mhwealthkc.com.
And we'll be sure to put it in the description too.
Much appreciated.
I'm sitting here thinking, we have a lot of young entrepreneurs now, I think, and right now here is 2021. Everybody's hiring because nobody wants to work, but I believe, and some of us believe, it's just because in 2020 people had to get an income. They were losing jobs and things were happening, and people just started their own businesses. Yes. And so I'm just thinking about the young people, and just even how do you even get them to start saving, for retirement? Are you, meeting people that you need to have these conversations with, just to get them to start? Because a lot of times we're not taught.
Oh, man.
Right? So how do you convince people that this is the right thing to do?
Well,
what are your strategies?
Are we talking about employees, or are we talking about business owners now?
Business owners. Yeah.
Because some of them, they're running businesses.
Yeah, they started being DoorDash drivers or Uber drivers, or things like that. And it's like, okay, you switched and you started doing these things, and one day you're not
gonna get old.
No, that's absolutely true.
Yeah. So how do you convince them to do that? They need to start saving for retirement.
It's not easy. I'll be honest about it. It's not easy in a lot of cases, but you just have to remind people that if you don't do it, it's not going to get done, because you're kind of forced to pay into Social Security for retirement. But for most people in retirement, Social Security is not enough to live comfortably.
Right.
I mean, I know some people are living only on that Social Security check, but that's really no money. So if you're self-employed and you're going to rely on Social Security, that's not going to be enough. So you really have to start thinking ahead. And with younger people, that's the magic of compound interest is if you start young, you don't have to put nearly as much away to end up with a nice chunk of money in the end versus somebody who starts late. So, you know, it's the example of maybe a 20-year-old or somebody in their 20s needs to be saving $100 a month to build a nice nest egg for retirement, where somebody who starts when they're 50 needs to be trying to save $1,000 a month. You know, it's a whole lot easier to save $100 a month than it is $1,000. So
Sure.
The sooner you start, the better off you're going to be.
For sure. I have one more question, and you may or may not know the answer to this, but I was just thinking about business owners and people owning businesses and either it failing possibly or just even being sued for whatever reason. Are these investments protected when lawsuits come along? I was just curious about that as we were planning for this show. Like, if a business is sued, what happens to that money?
That's a great question as well. And in most cases, money that you put into a retirement account is protected against lawsuits. Not in all cases, but in most cases. And so that's another idea when you talk about diversification. You put some of your business money into your retirement plan, your company goes belly up or gets sued, well, you still have this money that you tucked away in this retirement plan that is still your money. So that's an excellent question.
It's like,
right.
Yeah, no, you still got something left, right?
Oh my God. Yeah, I just like, dang, can somebody like touch your money, all this money you've worked to save?
Right.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
some incident comes on. Maybe it's even from one of your employees or something. It's not even something that you did yourself. And here, all this money that you work to save is in danger of being taken from you. So,
yeah, and that is one of the things when I'm talking to somebody about starting some type of retirement plan, I do remind them that you're getting some money outside of the company now that's not subject to, you know, those type of issues.
Man, that's good stuff.
It is. So is there anything else that, you can add or you want to tell the listeners that would be helpful for them getting started if they haven't, or if they, just some nuggets.
Well, yeah, I mean, the key is to just get started. And, even if you don't feel like you can do a lot, do something, because I'm a strong believer in the word inertia. That once you start getting something in motion, it will stay in motion. So once you start saving, you'll keep saving because you just get in the habit of doing it.
Yeah.
And compound interest is one of the greatest things out there. It's that your money makes money, then that money makes more money, and then that money makes even more money. So the idea of compound interest, starting early and getting in the habit of saving, just about all financial advisors will tell you, you need to get in the habit of paying yourself first. And that's whether you're an entrepreneur or an employee, pay yourself first. And all that means is every time you get a paycheck, automatically take some of that money, put it aside for your future before you get a chance to spend it. Because you'll find a way to spend it.
Definitely.
Yes, that is the truth.
Definitely.
That's why I don't even keep money in my checking account. It's like I keep enough money in my checking account to pay the bills.
And it's too tempting, yeah.
Yeah, it's like no money. No.
Yeah, I don't have any money now. Yeah, exactly.
It will get spent one way or the other.
Yeah.
It
it's
will.
like, oh, I got this. Oh, okay.
That's exactly right.
It gets moved over.
There you go, before you get a chance.
Yeah. Well, this has been some really good information for our entrepreneurs. And I think, again, we're getting so many more people who are starting their own businesses. Right. It is very important to save that money for your future. Especially if you don't want to work for a long time, is start early, so that you can travel the world and do other amazing things. Maybe do more work in your community or whatever. So entrepreneurs that are listening, start saving. David, if they want to reach out to you, how can they do that? I know you want to
call my office at 816-548-4155 to schedule an appointment, or go to our website, mhwealthkc.com, and you can also schedule an appointment from the website.
And their website again?
mhwealthkc.com.
Cool. And once again, yes, we will put it in the description below.
All right.
David, we appreciate your time.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming on again.
Yep. And we look forward to the next conversation.
All right. Sounds good. And I appreciate what you guys are doing. Keep up the good work.
Thank
you.
you. Have a good one.
All right. Peace.
Hey guys, and thank you once again for tuning in to Let's Talk Money.
You can find us here every Monday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Yes, so be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you will be alerted every time new content is aired.
Come on, y'all. Tell your mom and them, your cousin them, all of them.
Tell them all.
Tell them to subscribe and listen to Let's Talk Money.
Yes, and be sure to leave us some comments. Chat with us. We'll be chatting live at times, so chat with us.
Hey, remember, your money mindset matters.
As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.